Hi, I am Aubree. I am an inventor and talking this week about fresh milled McDonald's, which sounds silly, but really on balance is truly what it leans into. And it's funny, I've been doing this on series, like on interiors, on inventing, on crossing categories, different things that I think on often. And this one kind of came about randomly, and it wasn't what I was planning to do this week, but it's how my week felt because I started out the week making fresh milled flour blueberry muffins, and they were delicious. They were super yummy, actually. I was kind of surprised. More like cornbread than a traditional muffin, but I really liked them. And I don't love muffins always, but these were yummy. Um, they felt a little more filling, like a little meatier, heartier. I don't know. So I started making fresh milled flour muffins, and then post that. Oh, wait, pause. Oh. Um, Post that, my son and I drove through McDonald's and got a Happy Meal. And so I felt like, to me, it made me think about balance and how balance isn't technically um, even. So to me, balance doesn't mean that the scale is always in the middle and that it's perfectly like this. To me, balance, I feel like the scale shifts. So to be balanced, to me, could mean having a little bit of something here and a lot of here. So like with food, I feel like I have a little bit of fast food and hopefully a lot of whole foods. So more whole foods on this side. This is my imaginary scale. More whole foods on this side, fast food on this side, and my balance point is more like here. Where some people, maybe eating out is over here and cooking at home is over here, and that's their balance point. And that balance point slides. It's not always the same for all categories or for all people. So for me, I feel like for food, like I said, not that I always cook fresh milled flour. This is like a week of fresh milled flour. I have fresh milled. First I called them, what did I call them? Beef something. I don't know, something that did sound appetizing. My son called them salty pancakes, which I liked. They are not pretty, forewarned, and they're not hamburger patties, even though they look like it. They are spelt flour, kind of like a pan fry bread. Not Indian fry bread because they're not fried, not naan, but they were like, you're gonna laugh, I actually would call them like a vegan hamburger. They're like chewy, they're meaty, they're dense, but I really liked them. I was surprised. So my mom has a flour mill. Put my little flour patties there. I call them naan buns eventually because they're kind of like naan, kind of like an English muffin, kind of like a bun. I don't know, they were unique. But I ended up putting them with leftover ground beef and a fried egg on top. And it was super yummy. It was kind of like a little lunch breakfast sandwich. It was very filling, which was interesting because I feel like fresh milled flour is very filling. But my mom has a flour mill. I got way off topic. I'm gonna come back to the scales. But my mom has a flour mill, and this week there was a podcast recently from Sue Becker and a girl from Culture Apothecary. And I've heard them speak before, and I've heard about fresh milled flour before, and my mom has had a mill for maybe a year. But it kind of like rekindled that. I called it my hope in a plastic bag because I literally was like, I still am. I'm going to. Like, that was my today's fresh milled flour thing. I made bread over the weekend. I made the muffins, and then, where's my laundry? And then I made whatever we're gonna call these little patties, fresh milled flour patties, today with the intent of trying to, don't mind me, my reminders telling me what to do, with the intent of honestly trying to heal my son's eczema. Like, that is the root of why I am cooking that way. He's 3 years old, and we've probably done about like 2.5 years of stuff trying to figure out why he's itching, how to make him stop itching. I've spoken about that more elsewhere, but this was the latest endeavor in that. I've kind of taken a pause. We did like a full like year-long boot camp course called the Eczema Program through Dr. Anna Maria Temple, and I really liked it, and I had high hopes, and I do feel like he kind of improved, but he really didn't, to be honest. Like, he still has itchy knees and is scratching, and we did no gluten for chunks of time, we did no dairy, we did tons of supplements. I was like I would say like disciplined with it. Like, I did what they asked us to do, and it didn't feel like it worked. And so then I just kind of took a hard break where we did no supplements and no lotions and no nothing. I mean, like some lotion at night, but not like they had a Dr. Aaron steroid lotion, so none of that. Thinking maybe like just a full reset, take any like the stress off, maybe that'll help. And it didn't. Like, his knees are just constantly itchy. And so then when the freshman flour thing came up into my brain, I was like, let's try that. We haven't done it in a while. So we're doing that right now. And I think it's good for a family. It's like a good thing to eat, whether or not it is the hope in a plastic bag that I'm calling it, because my mom has the flour mill and the flour. And so I will, with my kids, we're neighbors. And so I'll march them down to my parents' house, mill some flour while they play with some of her little toys, march it back up, and make something that's kind of hard to make, to be honest. Not hard, but like not my normal. So then it feels harder. But that's been my recent kick. And so that's why I joke that this week my balance has been fresh milk flour and a McDonald's Happy Meal. Because on the flip side, him and I were doing something, and you know what? It just like kind of sounded good. And it was funny because I actually felt very embarrassed to take him there. And I would say we get a Happy Meal like maybe once a month. I don't know. Like, I feel like for whatever reason, this is a tangent, In-N-Out, at least we live in San Diego, In-N-Out and Chick-fil-A and Chipotle, those feel like okay fast food. Like, you could go there and like carry your cup around after and not be embarrassed. But I feel like if you go to McDonald's, if you go to, I don't really like Jack in the Box or Carl's. Like, if I did, I would go. But any of those kind of like older fast food generation places, I feel like it's like embarrassing to carry the cup around afterwards. And so like I wouldn't bring my McDonald's cup into preschool pickup. I just wouldn't. But I would bring a Starbucks cup, and that's silly. But because it felt embarrassing, I felt like I needed to talk about it, because I think when things feel embarrassing, that's kind of like a cue to share. I don't know. It's like a touch point. Like, you can tell you've hit a nerve in yourself. And so since I found driving through McDonald's hits a nerve in myself, I felt like I wanted to talk about it. But all that to say, this week's balance felt like fresh milk flour and a Happy Meal. And I think when I talk about the tipping scales of balance for different things, that is my food balance. Maybe is like mostly whole, healthy foods. I talk about too in my Substack. I'm just scared. But in my little Substack posts, because I've been doing, fun fact for all 10 of you that watch, I do like a Substack and a YouTube long format every week. And then I've been like sprinkling in other things to try. So YouTube shorts or TikTok live shopping. My goal is to have a place to do live shopping. Like, that is genuinely my goal in doing all of this. I've never had the desire to be a content creator or a influencer or any of those things, but I am an inventor, and I have done live shopping for about a decade on QVC. My dad's done it for about 30 years. And the tides are shifting, just facts. QVC is shifting, all the things are shifting. And so that's why I'm here when I'm saying that. So when I say I have a Substack, I have YouTube, it's all to support that love of live shopping and how it's moving. But in my Substack, I talked about how most weeks I pack my kids a lunch in these little bento box things. And my mother-in-law gave me this one when my daughter was first born. And I remember she couldn't eat yet, I don't think, at the point where she was like just starting to snack. And so it wasn't something I used yet, but I saved it. And I'm so glad I saved it, because she has eaten lunch in this a couple days a week over the last couple years. She's 5. And they're so sweet to me now. And then my mother-in-law gave me this one. My mom gave me this one when my son was born. And my kids have had lunch in these little boxes most days. And that is kind of my balance when I say my scale. Their lunch typically is like 90% this, 10% Happy Meals, whatever else. Not even 10%, probably like less. I don't know. But also too, I shared, and Substack, but like sharing a little bit more here, with those little bento boxes, some of my like most favorite meals, because I think the balance isn't just about the nutrition. So there is the balance of like, this side of the whole foods is so much better for your body. Like, I get it. This side of the Happy Meal, not the best fuel for your body, probably. But I think that it like makes me happy in its own way. I think it makes my kids happy in its own way, and it like relieves the hair of stress around food. But in that lunchbox, my favorite days are when I'll pack those up. I have this like little French Market bag thing that I got forever ago that holds those lunch boxes really nicely. And I put their little water bottles that they've had for forever, those little Yeti water bottles, and their lunches in there. And we go to the local little French bakery coffee shop in our town. And my mom and sometimes my sister-in-law and sometimes my mother-in-law will join us, and we'll sit with the kids at this coffee shop, and the kids have their lunches packed, and we'll add a croissant to it by the kind little French baker man there. And then I'll get an iced tea, and it's like my favorite thing. When I was on here, my mom texted saying, do you want an iced tea? And I missed it, which is a bummer, but that's okay. That's one of my little swipes was. But we'll go get an iced tea, my mom will get coffee, my kids will get a croissant to add to their lunch, and that's like my favorite, one of my favorite routines we've ever had. I've never gone to one place that consistently. And so we started going when I was pregnant with my daughter. My mom went before. And then my little ones do gymnastics. And after gymnastics, we will go to that coffee shop and have our lunch there. And then if I'm like having a day where I just either don't know what to do because I'm a stay-at-home mom, and so I'll take the kids there and we'll have our lunch there and we'll read a book with their little library. But it's like one of my favorite routines that I have with my kids in this phase of life. And most of my days on my balance scale are in those little bento boxes or something made at home, like those weird little beef pancakes, whatever we're calling them. Vegan beef pancakes. Maybe that's what those things are. I don't know, spelt beef patties. I don't know. But that's this side of the balance board for me. And this side is the Happy Meal side that like also makes me so happy. Not every day, because genuinely, like, we ate there, I got a hamburger and french fries and like a little Sprite, and I felt lousy after, to be honest. And then when I ate that, I'm like weirdly full. It is very different, like eating that Happy Meal hamburger versus eating my like, I literally made like a homemade McDonald's. Not as, I mean, it was tasty actually. Not as tasty, but not the same. It was not a dupe, but it was the same ingredients. It was technically a bread-ish. I had ground beef, and I put an egg on mine today because my daughter likes egg whites and she doesn't like ground beef as much, and my son likes ground beef. So I ended up adding the egg and it was super yummy. But same meal in theory, and one made me feel good and one made me didn't from an actual like eating standpoint. But from the enjoyment standpoint, driving through McDonald's, not having to mill my flour and then cook it and clean up after it, which is a lot of work, to be honest. Like I'm sitting here, see if I can move this. I'm sitting here over my pile of dishes from my spelt beef patties. And I haven't done it yet because I have committed to doing this video once a week, and the dishes can happen at night and the video cannot because there's no natural light. But so I've committed to doing that, and by choosing to make my kids this homemade lunch, I have extra work. Where when I drive through McDonald's, I have no work. So I appreciate that that is like necessary sometimes, and also just like gratifying sometimes. So the Happy Meal feels like weirdly relaxing when I'm putting all this work and all this effort into food, and then I can just like drive through, get something to eat, sit in my car with my kids and munch. Like, it's kind of fun. I don't know. So I feel like there is, man, my thing's still telling me what to do. Means I've been talking too long. But there's something that's gratifying and relaxing about that darn little Happy Meal that on my scale feels worth it to me. For now, the scale could change. And it's also kind of nostalgic a little bit too. So I shared a little bit about this, but growing up, that was like a routine of my family's. Like my mom and my brother and I would like drive through McDonald's and get a little hamburger, like plain burger, meat and buns, and french fries. Like I remember as a kid, not like all the time, but enough to where like we collected the Beanie Babies. We tried to get the stamps. Remember those stamps? Was that the market? Or was that McDonald's? I think it was the Monopoly stamps. That was McDonald's, right? But like we did those things as a kid, and we would drive through this same drive-through that I went to yesterday with my son. And the girl at the little counter, her name was Bambi. And so we go through the drive-through, and there was Miss Bambi, and I like loved it. And as a kid, I loved it. And like, I appreciate that my mom did that for us. And then now I love doing it for my kids. It's like nostalgic and fun, and not something I'm going to choose to do every day personally, but like also not something I want to be embarrassed about, which is why I wanted to talk about it. So that is my version of balance with food specifically. And then just a little bit more like how I think the balance scale, the balance point is different depending on the category. So say you are, so my balance scale for food was here. I would say for candles, my balance scale is like here. I, at the moment, have only beeswax candles in my house. You can see them. I don't think you can. But these guys. So these are old vintage diptyque jars because I loved my diptyque jars. I save them like many of y'all out there do because I know on Poshmark and eBay and places people sell them, and I know on Into the Gloss y'all also got spammed that you should put your makeup brushes in here. But I fill mine with beeswax, like luxury beeswax that's barely filtered. It smells so good. It's like delicious. But so for candles, my balance scale is like 100% on the, I don't know, kind of healthy side. I don't know what you'd call it, but the like takes more effort side to like clean these out, refill them with beeswax. Yeah, so candles, my scale slides that way. And then for, I'd say like home cleaning stuff, my balance is also mostly, like I mostly do Branch Basics, laundry detergent, all those things because of my son's eczema. I like did it, and then now I've kept it because I liked it. Like fragrance-free dish soap, all that stuff. For beauty, I would say my beauty scale is definitely more in the middle. So I have tried to take out as much fragrance as I can, but it's harder in beauty than it is in food or in home. I feel like in food, there are so many options to eat more whole foods. I feel like in candles, there's actually not as many options at the store, which is part of what I've been working on. I feel like that is something I would love. Like my dream is to be like Nordstrom, Diptyque, Le Labo, Byredo, if I'm saying that right, Otho. But when you go to the Otho counter, everything technically is one ingredient. It's all beeswax. Maybe we'll do essential oils someday, but I don't like the essential oils. I like plain beeswax, but the beeswax is nuanced and varied, and the color varies, and the scent notes vary. Just like a rose varies in color and in scent, or wine varies in color and scent, so does beeswax, but nobody does it. I don't know why, to be honest. Like honey, same thing, varies. People sell honey like orange blossom honey versus clover honey, but nobody does it for beeswax. And like God made it that way. And so beeswax comes lighter, darker, sweeter, nuttier. And I'm excited to do that, hopefully. But in beauty specifically, it is so hard to find fragrance-free specifically products, not even like fully clean, like taking out all the junk, just like no fragrance or no natural flavor, which is fragrance, just for the record. Like clean brands use natural flavor. I know because the fragrance houses pitched me on it. Like they literally told me, oh, you don't want to use fragrance? Perfect, just use flavor. It's what the food industry uses, so it's the healthy version. But I feel like the healthy version is like what is known. Not necessarily, like I think knowing what you have is healthy, is clean, where fragrance, natural flavor, you don't know what's in it. And so how do you know it's healthy? Is my 2 cents. So in beauty, my scale is here because I feel like finding good fragrance-free products is really hard, and I really like beauty. So my scale is definitely more in the middle. In perfumes, at the moment, my scale is here. I got rid of all perfumes, and it kind of makes me sad. I don't love that landing spot. So figuring out maybe what perfumes I could bring back in and where, because I feel like, I said this before, but I feel like fragrance is like pants. If you're gonna use fragrance, use one at a time. You don't wear 6 pairs of pants. But when you wear fragrance, your shampoo, your conditioner, your body soap, your body lotion, your blush, your foundation, your face moisturizer, your laundry detergent, your dish soap. There are so many layers of fragrance that, remember in Shrek when he's like, it's like an onion, I got layers. And he's like, you don't want layers, you want a parfait. People like parfaits, people don't like onions. Well, I don't care if you're a parfait or an onion. If you're wearing 12 layers of fragrance, which I totally used to do, you got a lot of fragrance on you. So just like chemicals, like number of ingredients on your body is high, because if each of those fragrances, so I've really detoured, but if each of those fragrances has, say even if it was just 10, and you've got on 10, you have 100 ingredients that you don't know what they are piling on your body that have kind of been proven to not be great. Like if you go deep dive, there's not a lot of positive around fragrance because it's hidden. So I think when fragrance is not hidden, like I've seen like by Rosie Jane, I feel like she's pretty transparent on her ingredient list. There was this perfumer at Goop that I actually reached out to a long time ago to make a warm molten honey perfume, but his cost was very, very expensive. It was like $40,000 for a perfume, and it was my first product that I was hoping to make at the time with my candle, so that didn't happen. But maybe someday, if we get big enough, he could help make us a perfume. But I think clean is knowing what's in it. That's what I was getting at, is then choosing wisely what is going on your body. I see that as like what clean beauty is. And there's so many beauty products with fragrance that it's hard to say. I don't feel like things with fragrance are clean personally if that fragrance isn't listed out ingredient by ingredient. But so in beauty, my balance scale is here. I feel like, where am I off balance? I would say my clothes, my balance scale is here more. Like I got a lot of polyester, and I know people say don't wear polyester. Like this is cotton. And you know what's crazy? With clothing, I can feel, like I think my body is very sensitive to light. I get headaches really easy. Like right now I'm standing by an open window and this may or may not give me a headache, just facts. My body's really sensitive to materials. So like this marble countertop right here, you can see it over there, versus the wood countertop. Like I like the feeling of the marble in my home. Like it makes me feel good. Like I like feel, people talk about like vibrations and stuff. I don't know about that, but like I feel that it's natural. It feels good to me. Where when I feel a tile that's like not real, not like a real ceramic tile, like you can feel the difference in materials. Similarly in clothes, like I can feel it. If I wear a polyester dress, like I'm sweating, just facts. I'm so hot, my body gets like an oven. Or if I wear a cotton dress, it breathes and it feels better. So, excuse me, I feel like my whole life I've kind of been sensitive to like itchy clothes and things. And now all of a sudden it's like trendy, like it has a name to it, that people want like plastic free active wear, which I do not have. That's what I'm getting at. Like I'm aware of it, but my scale is like here because I like my Lululemon leggings. I like my, what else do I like? I don't know, like this is embarrassing, my old Target sports bras that are from like high school, being totally honest. They fit the best. They're super comfy. They are for sure made of plastic. Like I can feel it. I put them on. They're super comfy, but they don't feel breathable, which tells me that they're insulating my body in plastic, which is not great. But my scale in clothes is about here. Have not tackled that. I've tried it for my kids. It's hard. My son, I do it more so than my daughter. My daughter definitely wears little plastic polyester princess nightgowns, and they're adorable, and I love them. That's my reminder going off again. So I feel like I should just say, we talked a lot here today. But all that to say, talking on balance this week, and I like didn't realize I have a lot to say on balance. And I don't think balance means equally distributed. I think balance depends on where the sliding scale is in the middle. And I think the scales are different for every person. Like I think some people can wear polyester and not bat an eye, and their body doesn't mind it, and it still probably is not like the best, healthiest, whatever you want to call it, choice for a body. But I don't think some bodies mind it. Where like my son's body definitely minds it. It gets itchy. My body gets hot. Like it minds when I put things on it that I can tell aren't real or good whole ingredients. I don't know, like cotton. I feel like that's a clothing ingredient. Cotton is like a whole ingredient. Polyester, plastic is not. And I can feel it, and it like feels better. Even with my Happy Meal, it felt better to eat my way more work, not as pretty little meat patties, whatever these things are. But the Happy Meal also brought me a sense of joy in a different way. And I think, to tap it all off, this was like my PS on my Substack, and I thought of it after the fact, but it's super true. And I've thought of this in my car with my kids, that like when we have the Happy Meal, I want to make sure that I still pray, even though we're driving. So when we eat dinner at night, we sit at our table right over here, or lunch or breakfast, whatever we're eating, and we pray. And typically my dad's prayers were always very short, and I have adopted them. So it's, dear God, thank you for this good food. Amen. Short and sweet, like thankful for the food. And we pray that at the table. Sometimes it's longer, mostly it's not. But that consistency and that repetition, and like genuinely, like I am thankful for that food. I'm thankful for whatever food, but making sure that I'm also thankful for the Happy Meal. And so like making sure my kids know, I don't know, they don't think of it as like, I don't want to say bad food, but like not as good of a choice or whatever. Like it's not from a health standpoint, but also we should still be thankful for it and like thankful for the food. And I think that God is bigger than any food choice out there in the entire world. So like God can heal you if you eat a Happy Meal, and God can heal you if you eat fresh mud flour. Like I truly believe that to the core. And I think that is more important in balance. That my scale is like over here on, like that I am firm on. It's not sliding. Like God is bigger than any amount of food. And so balance for me is choosing to have faith in that choice 100%, not 20%, not 80%. Like I think God can heal my son's skin. I know he has the power to, whether or not he chooses to, or whether or not it happens, like out of my control. But I can still make the next best step and pray like crazy in the process, which is what I feel like I've been doing. And like know that God's good whether my son's skin is itchy or not, and know that God's good whether I'm eating a Happy Meal or I'm eating fresh milk flour. And that, I think, ultimately in my life is what allows those other things to feel balanced too, because the weight of those choices is so much less. Because I mean, ultimately someday I'm gonna be in heaven someday with like whatever. I guess Adam and Eve didn't wear clothes. But whatever we're wearing, whatever we're doing, I know it's all gonna be good. And so that's where I'm going. And so that firm feeling of like trust takes away the fear around the sliding scale of my balance of choices in areas that are fun but not fulfilling. Like, I think food is fun. It's fun to cook, it's fun to get a Happy Meal, but it's not what's my ultimate fulfillment in life, and it's not what's going to get me to heaven. It's not what's genuinely going to make me happy, like at the core. And I think for me, that lets balance feel less intense or less like needed. Like, if the balance is there or not, I'm trusting God's good either way. So what do you think about balance? Let me know. And I appreciate anybody taking the time to listen to this. So I hope you have a good day. And I hope you feel balanced in whatever you're doing today. Have a good day.